General store in Jacksonville, where 3 people were gunned down in a racist attack, failed to protect its customers and employees. Well, that is what the wrongful death lawsuit filed by the family of the victims is claiming. They're now suing the store, the security company, and the shooter's parents, alleging that neglect of security, negligent parents led to the deaths of Angela Carr, Jerrald, Gallion, and AJ Laguerre just last August. With me now is Quan Laguerre, AJ's brother, also their attorney, Adam Finkel, who is one of the attorneys representing the families. Thank you both so much for being with us. Quan, I do want to start with you. First of all, deep condolences from me and the Grio about your devastating loss. Now, you say that all of this really could have been avoided had that Dollar General store have done really what their duty was to protect your brother and the others killed tragically in the store. Talk about what you would have liked to have seen the store do in this case.
Honestly, really just doing their job. I mean, you see, the pathway of where the shooter have gone previously prior to going to my brother's store. He went to the HBCU and another convenience store. Fortunately for them, they had security there, and that deterred him to go away from those stores. And then as soon as he went to the first store that didn't have security, you see what the result was.
Attorney Finkel, it sounds like this is getting to the heart of the notion of foreseeability, right? We know that this racist rampage did not necessarily happen in isolation. As Quan just told us, there had been a number of crimes near this store prior. The lawsuit claims that the employees expressed concerns that there was knowledge, at least attempted by the employees to talk about their fear of safety. Talk about where foreseeability fits into this.
There's no question that the upper level Dollar General management knew that this store in particular was in a dangerous area, in a high crime area, and needed enhanced security measures. There's no question that upper management had tried to communicate with those above them and demand that either off-duty officers or security guards be actually placed at the store, and that they were all sitting there as fortunately sitting ducks, knowing that it was only a matter of time and that it was a certainty that crime and violent crime was going to befall this store and injure both employees and their customers.
Yeah, and I know that in your litigation, that is the argument that you all are making, right? That there was knowledge, awareness of the level of increased risk and danger, then that there was failure to act accordingly. So, Quan, I do want to talk about the fact that the investigators say that the shooter initially, and you talked about this, set their sights on another store, then they looked at the HBCU, but those places, as you told us, had security guards. What does it mean to you to know or feel that your brother would be here today had this Dollar General store acted in kind, had they implemented that same level of security?
I mean, it's just really it's, you have no words for it. Just me, especially working in the field that I do, I know there's, things that I work in the healthcare field, so I know you have to have certain things in place to protect the people, rather if it's, your customers or, your employees. Same thing when it comes to convenience stores, especially knowing that this could have been prevented. Like I said, I still have my brother today. It's not like you hear all the things where it's wrong place, wrong time, and things in that aspect. Well, in his case, he was at work, and it should have been prevented.
Yeah. And Counselor, talk to me about what remedies you guys are seeking. I know it's a wrongful death claim. The argument is there was a failure to, a breach rather, of an existing duty. And what does justice look like in this case?
Justice looks like Dollar General learning. And it looks like all of the surrounding companies actually learning from this. We have seen through public records and information given that there are plenty of other stores, Dollar General stores across the country that have the same types of violent problems. What are they doing at those stores? What are they doing actually at this store? Have they hired actual security experts to help be at the top of all their decisions and make sure that their stores across the country are reasonably secured and that this doesn't happen again. And to all the other surrounding properties and stores across the country that look at their business and say, we're operating a store that's very similar to what happened in Duval County. What are they doing to learn? We don't want to see the loss of life anymore. There's such common sense measures that can be put in place that would have kept AJ alive, and that would have kept Jerrald alive, and would have kept Angela alive. All we want is everybody to learn from this, to decrease the gun violence.
Gentlemen, please both stay with us. On the other side of the break, we're going to dive more into the role. Still with me is Quan Laguerre. He is the brother of AJ Laguerre, who was one of the clerks killed by the shooter. Also with us is attorney Adam Finkel. He is one of the lawyers representing the victims' families. Attorney, I want to start with you. You mentioned that this wrongful death lawsuit is also naming one of the named defendants are also the shooter's parents. We're seeing this kind of more and more in a variety of cases that involve, guns and this type of thing. We're seeing this level of accountability. Connect the dots for us. Where is the, vicarious liability here from the parents to this tragedy?
There's no question that the parents knew what was going on inside their house. The police have already released photographs, of the photos of his room, and you see empty alcohol bottles, you see angry photographs, the angry scripture which he left, the groups that he was a part of, knowing that he had firearms and access to all these other violent things. They did nothing. They knew the ticking time bomb and the pressure that was building in that room within their house, and they did absolutely nothing. They weren't shocked when this happened. I submit to you, they weren't surprised at all. Perhaps they wished it didn't happen, but the fact of the matter is as a parent, there is no question that they could have done something to prevent this. And instead, they just let that ticking time bomb in their house continue to build and continue to tick. And now we have the loss of innocent life.
Yeah. And to follow up there, I have to kind of ask you directly, is then the hope that if there is liability found by the parents in this case, that becomes a message point, right, to other parents or other guardians to say, when you see something, say something? Is that part of the pursuit here?
Of course. At the Haggard Law Firm, we work with far too many families across the country, both in single incident cases involving gun violence and mass shootings like this. And what's incredible about Quan and the other family members that we're working with is the understanding that their family members don't need to pass in vain, that we can use this to try and get necessary information and messaging to those out there to prevent the next shooting. That as a community, as a country, we can all work together to open our eyes to what's around us, to understand the epidemic that is gun violence across our country. And for each of us to do our part, whether it is a parent seeing something in their own home or a business owner understanding that common sense measures are not in place, we can all do something to protect one another.
Okay. And Quan, so devastatingly is the case when we have tragedies like this. We as the public only hear these names in the wake of their untimely deaths. And I know that AJ was much more than this tragedy. So tell us a bit about AJ. Who was he as a brother, as a friend? What do you miss the most?
Man, what I miss the most is his positivity. I mean, I come from a family, we didn't have the best upbringing. We experienced, adversity at a young age, losing, our mother at an early age. AJ just always made the best and made everything possible with the way that he just worked, his work ethic, his unwavering, positivity. Times where, he was only 19 when he passed, and for him to keep a positive upbeat about life, learning to make the most of what he has to do throughout, every day, it just speaks measures of who he was as a person. He never was a person that was, that got into a lot of trouble, never really even received a referral in high school, let alone, just got into any fights or anything, he always listened to my grandmother, and as cliche as it sounds, he did. That was one person that it was just surprising, how he left this earth.
And Attorney Finkel, one final question for you before we wrap. This FBI investigation is still ongoing, actually. Quickly tell us what you expect to see as this investigation does conclude.
We expect them to continue doing their job and continue working as hard as they can to uncover as much information as they have accessible, whether it's looking into the different hate groups that the shooters were communicating with, other information that he had, that the families had, and obviously bringing that truth to the public. You know, this is something that shook not only Duval County and the state of Florida, but the entire country. And the more information that can be shared by the FBI and by law enforcement through their hard work, the more attention is given to this. And hopefully more people learn and we don't have this happen again.
Indeed. Quan Laguerre, Attorney Adam Finkel, both thank you for your time. The Grio will continue following this case.